Howdy there, this is Rudy Cowboy from Ultraman Central, and today we mark our first Ultra-Thon. Before beginning production on this video, I first thought of doing it with the original Ultraman series, but right now I cannot afford to make that due to how much money it takes to make my Ultra-Thon videos. For real, I've already spent $80, so instead, I will begin with a new gen series due to its 25 episode limit pure series. I think I want to do a special one, special enough for me at least, as this series is in my top 5 Ultraman series to date overall. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, may I present the beginning Ultra-Thon series to be Ultraman Z. Let's do this! Ultraman Z is an entry to the franchise premiering in 2020 and last aired in 2021, which takes place in the same universe as Ultra Q, which explains the context of appearances such as Gomez, Pagos, M1, Kimmerman, and more returning monsters. In this series, Ultraman Z, who claims himself to be Ultraman Zero's apostle, wants to prove himself to Ultraman Zero that he is a worthy sidekick. Within that goal comes obstacles and challenges such as the Devil Splinters. Devil Splinters are fragments of Belial's cells that cause and wreak havoc to Earth. The story first begins in episode 1, Chant My Name, when our main protagonist Haruki saves civilians as secondary protagonist Yoko pilots Sevenger to handle the rogue Gomez, preventing it from causing more harm to the civilians under attack and the city itself. One punch can take a 10-meter Gomez out of Sevenger Storage's first unit dwarfs the little kaiju, so of course physics played a hand in that. Within that, Gomez is successfully unconscious and title card! In the aftermath, Storage members are punished for their irresponsibility for failing to keep the building safe during carnage. Meanwhile, Ultraman Z and Ultraman Zero chase after Grenagard, the space shark. Grenagard spits out a Bolton, which sucks Zero to another dimension. Given the Z-Riser from Zero, Z is left with no choice but to chase Grenagard to Earth by himself and prevent him from causing more chaos to occur using his new gadget. Grenagard arrives on Earth, and Storage releases Sevenger, who is piloted by Haruki, to face the giant shark kaiju, with the mysterious appearing collaboration of a stranger, Lord Z. Grenagard overpowers Sevenger, and the two giants realize they need to collaborate to defeat Grenagard. Grenagard seems to be too powerful for the two, and takes out Sevenger completely. Ultraman Z saves Haruki from death, but by doing so, in old school Ultra fashion tradition, they must collaborate as one to combine as a match capable enough to defeat powerful monsters like Grenagard. After doing so, using the medals of Ultraman Zero, Ultra 7, Ultraman Leo to slot in the Z-Riser, by chanting Z's name, Haruki and Z become Ultraman Z, Alpha Edge.
Ultraman Z, Alpha Edge.
Ultraman Z, with the help of the teaming up with Haruki, they prove a perfect bond that is strong enough to become the ultimate counter to Grenagard's attacks, and eventually defeat the giant kaiju victoriously. After the battle, Haruki is sent back to where he was found, perfectly safe and sound. He collects his medals, but he isn't the only one collecting medals. Yoko finds him and is relieved that he is okay. Meanwhile, at the Global Allied Forces Monster Research Center, Celebro, the lead Devil Splinter, infects his first host that is the most prominent throughout the series, Shinya Kuburagi. Overall, the first episode was just so much fun. The chase with Gomez felt like something from Ultra Q. Haruki is likable, and Zet and Haruki's bond felt real. This will be concurrent throughout the series. The next episode is called A Warrior's Principle, which is technically a modern tribute to Ultraman Episode 3. At the beginning, Storage is hit by a drill, as Naranga surges for energy. Sevenger, again piloted by Haruki, is sent to finish the monster, but with advantages of being invisible and Haruki's disadvantages of confidence, the monster wins the fight and flees, leaving Sevenger out of power with boiled batteries. Haruki, who is disappointed by the loss, is comforted by Yoko. He is then encountered by Ultraman Z, who then reintroduces himself and explains how and why he arrived on Earth, and the fact that Grenagard was eating the metals and that he is not the only threat. Ultraman Z explains to him that the only way for him to transform into Ultraman Z is to be confident in battle. Haruki is then trained karate by his captain, Shota Hebakura, who is totally not Juggler's Juggler at all, and learns the way of defeating Naranga, which is to sense the enemy he cannot see. After that, he works out for his next match with Naranga. After doing so, Storage warns a search party on Naranga, and after successfully detecting him via heat waves, Sevenger, who is piloted by Yoko, faces the kaiju, but again, the unit is overpowered from the advantages for Naranga. By chanting his name, Haruki uses the metals needed to transform into Alpha Edge. Haruki yells, "Ultraman Z!" Ultraman Z, Alpha Edge. Ultraman Z takes his turn in fighting Naranga. Naranga puts up a good fight, not gonna lie. He puts Ultraman Z in a mount position, maintaining dominance until he is distracted by Sevenger's missile. He's very agile and very aggressive, with each of his attacks being very smooth, especially when he's invisible. And if you want to talk about the highlight of this episode, oh my gosh, this shot. Back to where we were at, Ultraman Z is put in jeopardy due to how OP Naranga is. until Haruki remembers the lessons his captain taught him and uses them as his advantage given to Ultraman Z. He finally finds the counter he needs to defeat the powerful beast and ends up successfully putting an end to Naranga's rampage. Yoko at the end still keeps the medal of Ultraman, not knowing what its use is truly for. How dare she do my Ultraman like that? Ultraman is my favorite Ultraman, come on, don't steal! Anyways, she will find out eventually, but until then, Storage has been in good spirits due to Ultraman Z, and will remain. This episode was pretty good, and had some good character development with Haruki and his will to be a true warrior. Naranga was portrayed well, and the fights were well executed. It is for sure a good episode. Episode 3 is called Live Coverage The Monster Transportation Operation, where in the beginning Haruki and Kojiro Inaba, who is the leader of the mechanics in Storage, meet, in which Kojiro announces to Haruki his agreement with the director to secure funds for the new weapon for Sevenger that was requested by Haruki. The new feature was then tested out in battle while fighting Gigas, the freezing monster. Sevenger could now be able to launch his fist out of his arms, landing blows from far distances. The feature was proven to be useful and it successfully took out Gigas, but the irresponsibility cost was unfathomable, as Haruki, being the clumsy fellow he is, made Gigas land on a building. Oopsie daisy. The director of Storage is in fumes due to Haruki's irresponsibility. Meanwhile, Storage plans to transport a sleeping Gomora to another location, so that when he awakens he doesn't attack the city nearby the mountain he rested, and cause mass destruction. The director meets with the American GAF as they review the operation and see if the storage program is truly worthy to be funded in the future. Sevenger, being piloted by Haruki, plays a big role in Gomer's transportation, but oh, may God help us all, as eventually Gomer awakens and causes mayhem. Gomer destroys building after building, bench pressing structures off of the ground, until Haruki decides to engage in battle. Sevenger does a good job, and makes Gomer fall to his knees. Everything looks good for Sevenger before the unit slips and falls, and the battle goes downhill for Sevenger, and Gomer puts up a match that looks dual on Sevenger's behalf. Haruki then uses the Z-Riser, and by chanting Ultraman Z, Haruki and Z as one pair are able to transform into Ultraman Z Alpha Edge. Z warms up with the hulking beast, trying to hold up with the battle. He sees that Yoko has the medal of Ultraman. Ultraman Z knows what monster he's facing and is aware he can only be capable of being active in battle with Gomora for so long, even as Alpha Edge. After Zet convinces Yoko to give the medal to him, Haruki slides the medals of Ultraman, Ultraman Ace, and Ultraman Taro, which combined creates Ultraman Z's second fusion, Ultraman Z Beta Smash.
Ultraman Z Beta Smash.
Beta Smash flexes those sweet muscles like a Giga Chad and gives Gomora a run for his money. Gomora is not just enough power to take down the strong, mighty Beta Smash, as eventually Beta Smash takes all advantages in the battle and takes it to the air, ending the brute in Fist of Fury. After flying away, The American GAF is stunned by Savinger's performance and funds Storage to create a secondary unit, Wyndham. Overall, the episode was good. Not as strong as the first two episodes, but it was for sure good. And the quirky moments with Yoko and Ultraman Z were funny. And I'm not gonna lie that the introduction to Beta Smash was so freaking awesome. Now, we finally reach our fourth and final episode that we will review for this video. And the fourth episode in the series. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Ultraman Z Episode 4, the second robot activation plan. The plot begins with an average day at Storage. Wyndham is being built. Yuka glares her eyes at the new, still in construction unit, Wyndham. Meanwhile, Ultra-Thon appears to emerge from the ground, terrorizing Japan with his rampage. Savinger, who is piloted by Yoko this time, clashes with the beast. Savinger tries to hold Ultra-Thon, but Ultra-Thon resists. Ultra-Thon is distracted by a bullet from Haruki and Yuka. Ultra-Thon then goes on a cat and mouse chasing after the two in a tense but fun road chase sequence that looks like something from Hollywood. Like, holy cow, the visuals are insane. Ultra-Thon gets triggered by sirens, so he goes full Godzilla mode and destroys building after building with his intense wrath of flames. Ultra-Thon digs away, escaping as Celebro watches it dig, motionless. Yuka spends the night working her butt off on finding a way what would power Wyndham, to the point she cannot even eat. Now that is dedication, but very unhealthy though. Yuka sits down with Bako as he bakes her a potato. How nice of him. He encourages her not to give up on her ideals and use unexpected things to make something useful. Overall, this conversation is just so wholesome, and one of the many countless of wholesome moments from this series. This is one thing I like the most of all things about this series. The characters and bonds feel the most real out of any of the shows. That's what's so special about Storage compared to the other defense forces. Anyways, back to what's up with Celebro. Celebro does some cooking and makes him a Jirus medal. The next day, Yuka finally finds what is unexpected but useful to power Wyndham. Naranga's horn. Ultra-Thon is seen again, alerting all Storage members. Savinger lands confronting the ground beast and begins a second match. Ultra-Thon has it at first, but what Ultra-Thon doesn't know about Savinger is what's inside of him. Haruki. By inserting the medals and chanting the name of Ultraman Z, Haruki merges with Z to become Ultraman Z. Beta Smash! Ultra-Thon and Ultraman Z clash with tension behind each move. Meanwhile, Yuka powers Wyndham and the unit is then ready to join Ultraman Z and Haruki in battle for a 2-on-1 with Ultra-Thon. They eventually gain the advantage until Celebro feeds the kaiju his Jirus medal, and Ultra-Thon now becomes Aramaki Ultra-Thon and overwhelms the two giants. Ultraman Z and Haruki choose to turn back into Alpha Edge for this specific moment. And then both Z and Wyndham strategize to separate and use their most powerful attacks. This ended up being successful, and after the defeat, Celebro retreats. For now, at least. And hey, at the end of the day, Wyndham proved to be a good second unit as a robot. He's a pretty awesome unit, not gonna lie, and he's gonna stay like that throughout the series. But oh boy, we have another threat to look out for. Jugless Juggler is back, baby. And now we have major problems on our hands. Next time, we will cover episodes 5 through 7 and see where these plot points lead to. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the video. I worked hard, really hard on this video, and I hope this pays off. I really do. You guys deserve this content, and I apologize for the extremely long delay of content. Until then, for newcomers, like and subscribe, and I will see you all later.